our 50th wedding anniversary. And so what we wanted to do was have a chance to share with you some of the lessons that we've learned during the course of our years together. And one of the things that we'll be focusing on tonight is the 6 words to never say to your spouse. And so we will take a look at those in just a minute. Now, I don't know if Janice is going to be able to join me for this broadcast. She's out of town, and she's up with visiting her mom, and there's just a little bit of complications with her logging in. So I'm going to see if that will happen in a little bit, but if not, we're going to get there anyway. I have plenty of stuff I could share with you on this particular topic of the 6 things to never say to your, or the 6 words to never say to your spouse. So let's just go ahead and move on forward with that. We'll be right back. Hey, do me a favor. If the comment window is working, and I think it might be, you never know. I can only control so much from this side of the computer, and it always maddens me when people contact me for technical support, and particularly while broadcast is going on, and that I can't fix what's happening on your side of the computer. So, but if the comments are working, it actually says there was an error in loading the comments. So I don't know. You can still try it, but you can submit the 6 words that you think you should never say to your spouse. That might be fun to read. Here's some contenders when it comes to the 6 words that you should never say to your spouse. Let's see if I got it right. Here's the checkbook. Spend away, honey. Not a good idea. That whether you're talking to your husband or your wife, here's the checkbook. Spend away. Here's the checkbook. Spend away, honey. Those 6 words. Here's another one, and this one comes up a lot in marriages. Is that you are just like your mother. Not a good idea. If you want to make it to 50, if you even want to make it to 5, that just learn, that to ignore some of those. Or to avoid some of those at all costs. You are just like your mother. One of the things that I've discovered is that when people use those lines to their spouse, is that they never select the person in the family that they most admire. That it's always some element of a put down, or how about, you are just like your father. So, now I have to confess that there have been times in Janice and my relationship where we've used some of those. And it never, it's always one of these that it never works out when, you're just like your mother, and she'll come back and, but you're just like your father. and that, and so, it never goes anywhere good in those types of things. How about this one? This continues to be a source of contention for Janice and me, is that Oh, there she is. Let me bring her in so she can defend herself on these. Let me see if I can get her here. Oh, there she is. So it's so nice to see your smiling face. You know, the broadcasts are so much better when you're on them. You know.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, of course. You know that I love interacting with you. You are the you really are the one who makes the broadcast work. You know, I'll try my best, but
Woo.
you know, I'm glad that you were able to make. You know, just maybe find a place to put your phone.
I have nowhere to put it. I have to hold it.
Okay, well, try to be still. Okay, so that, yeah, I've been going through. Now, don't spoil it for the people, okay? But I've been going through the 6 words to never say to your spouse. So don't spoil it. What we're going to be talking about. Well, I'll tell you in a minute. Here's some of the ones that I said. The 6 words that you should never say to your spouse is that here's the checkbook. Spend away, honey. No, not a good idea. How about this one? You are just like your mother. Your mother's not there in the same room. She's not in the same. Yeah, I know. Oh, I'm saying these are ones that don't use these ones. Yeah, in your marriage, if you want to make it, I said, if not even if you want to make it a 50, not even if you want to make it 5.
Yeah, right.
So let me switch over here. Say what?
If you want to make it through the night.
Yeah, really. So, all right. Here's another set of words, or 6 words to never. And I was just at this point when you jumped on, but is to never say to your spouse. And we still, after 50 years, haven't gotten past this one. Here it is. Please tell me how to drive.
I'm going to tell you.
What?
Obviously, no men know how to drive, or their wives would all be saying the same thing.
Okay, and I'm glad that the comment section is not working tonight, because I know that all of the women would be chirping in on that one. Yeah. So but how about here's another one to never say to your spouse is that, does this make me look fat?
That's the only time that you can lie.
Yeah. I once heard a guy that he gave the classic the reply to that dress. I mean, to that comment. He says, let me see if I can remember what he said now. I think he said this. He said, that dress doesn't look good on you as much as it would look good off you. but maybe only a guy would think that would be a good reply. So that well, all right. Here's what we're going to be talking about tonight on this broadcast: 6 words that you should never say to your spouse, and that's just this: we can always get a divorce. We can always get a divorce. Why? Or share with us a little bit about our experience with using, or at least that particular statement.
Well, we got married really young, and so we had friends who were just a tad older than us that had been married for maybe 2 years. And every time they get in an argument, they'd be like, "We'll just get a divorce. We're going to get divorced," and always mad at each other and everything. And you and I, after hearing that many times, said, when we get married, we're never getting a divorce. So there's no sense in even making that any part of our
That's right.
vocabulary.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
You know, it would be nice. It would be nice if there was like a marriage referee. And I think that Seinfeld had a show that ran for a while that was called, I think, The Marriage Referee. But
I don't remember that.
yeah, it was. It wasn't that big. I mean, it was kind of
But
a flop.
anyway,
But it would be nice if there was a marriage referee that whenever you did something that was out of bounds, or was not according to the rules of a happy and healthy marriage, that they would just call foul, and and flag you like they would in football or something like that,
mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
but it doesn't work that way. We just got to figure it out, on our own, and try to and a lot of just try to muddle through the best as we can. So here's how about this? Instead of saying, well, we could always get a divorce, how about if couples started saying this? We could always get counseling.
Yeah.
You know, what a difference that would make. Instead of, and I heard one highly respected Christian therapist. He once said this: is that getting a divorce is oftentimes the first boundary that that couples set with each other. And and instead, it'd be great if they would just decide that we're going to learn some positive conflict management skills. We're going to learn how to fight fair. We're going to learn how to resolve problems effectively. And even if you're dealing with, and a lot of people do this, is that even if you're dealing with a resistant spouse, that you can always say, if you say, we could always get counseling, and your spouse would say, I'm not going to counseling. Say, okay, that I'm going to go to counseling and figure out how I can work on improving our marriage. I would love it if you would join me, but even if you don't, I'm going to still get counseling. I want to talk more about this whole thing about we could always get a divorce in just a minute. But in the meantime, I want to go back and share a little bit some of the photos from our slideshow. Okay, I mean from our photo shoot.
Why?
It's not bad.
Okay.
I just thought it would be fun to share some of those. So we went out, and our friend Ellen Silva, that he's a very talented artist, photographer, and we went out a few weeks back now. I can't remember exactly for sure, and went to one of our favorite places in the whole world, and that's Crystal Cove at Laguna Beach, and decided to do some photos there. This is one of the photos that we shot there just before you were swept out to sea.
Yeah.
with the incoming tide, So
Right.
yeah, and then we also had this one here. I'm naming this particular shot the the tunnel of love.
Oh my goodness.
because after 50 years of marriage, kissing your spouse on the forehead is about as loving as it gets.
Oh, brother. You should tell
So,
everybody that every time that he said for you to kiss me, either on my hand, my cheek, my forehead, you would go like, hmm.
I was just stuck on dumb, you know. And that happens from time to time. More often than not. So,
In our photo shoot, we spent a lot of time just cracking up.
yeah, exactly like this. So,
Right?
you know,
It
but
doesn't look romantic when you have to help your mate walk down the beach.
yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it, you know. So,
Yeah.
but well, let's talk a little bit about why it's just really a bad idea to say to your spouse that we could always get a divorce, you know. And
Yeah. Can I
go
say
ahead.
something?
Yes,
For
of
one
course.
thing, for one thing, it's very hurtful. Like
Hmm.
whoever's saying it, they're only saying it, or they're mainly saying it to hurt that person,
Yeah.
and to maybe win a fight or whatever. And we're in such a disposable society, where it doesn't matter, if you. I know people are thinking as they're walking down the aisle, if this doesn't work out, I'll just get a divorce. It's
Hmm.
just ridiculous. And people who are only married for a little while don't understand the joy of having a relationship with someone who not only is your mate, but they're your friend. They know you better than anybody on earth. You've gone
Hmm.
through thick and thin with them and everything, and your relationship grows so much.
Hmm.
You're never going to know that if you get divorced. And then when you get remarried, you're still going to be the problem you were before.
Yeah. Exactly.
So you
You
might
know.
as well learn these lessons with one person,
Yeah. You know.
And some of this marriage isn't easy. No relationships are easy,
No.
and but they're worth it.
Hmm.
And I think that even who knows how many years we were married before we really started to understand how to communicate better with one another. I know
Hmm.
there were a lot of years when the kids are little and
Yeah.
you're busy and doing all kinds of things and you don't even talk to each other hardly, or when your feelings are hurt you don't even say anything, you just stuff it, or
Hmm.
whatever. But you learn as time goes on how to communicate and how to
Yeah.
have a better time together.
Yeah. Yeah. That's for sure. I don't know, and I've been doing this for a long time. It actually took me a very long time to figure out the the dynamics of helping couples to move further down the road towards a healthy relationship. You know that when I went to Bible college and all, it wasn't like they had a a course on that. You were just kind of thrown into the deep end of the pool and had to figure out how to help couples in crisis. And it took me a lot of kind of like hitting my head up against the wall to finally, and I think I figured it out really pretty well, to tell you the truth. And, I think I know the path to help couples to work through. But that really, I spent many, 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 many years trying to figure that out, and also listening to the experts on that. But I don't know of any marriage and family therapist, any counseling professional, any respectable academic who would say that, well, we always can get a divorce is a good conflict management skill.
Yeah.
No. Really, what it does is that it undermines security in the relationship, and it escalates conflict. I've never seen I've never seen statements like that help help resolve problems. Additionally, is that what it really does is that it kind of freezes you. And you made a good point just a few minutes ago. It kind of freezes you at that level of conflict management skills. You know, and so whenever you're going to hit that ceiling of your ability in your conflict management skills, and it's going to happen again, whether it's in this relationship or another relationship or whatever, it will happen again, is that, well, we can always get a divorce. Whenever you hit that ceiling, if you never figure out, if you never have any other tools in your tool kit to use, then you're just always going to go down the same old rabbit hole, you know, or sewer pipe, maybe is another way to think about it. So that additional thoughts on that. I have others, but I want to just talk about, or maybe this. If somebody pulls that on you, what are some ideas that you think that could be helpful in how to respond and not react?
I think that, just talking to the person when you calm down and just say, when you said we should just get a divorce, that really made me feel, betrayed by you, because we promised to love and cherish one another until death do us part. And now you're throwing that up, and I don't, and just explain why you don't think that that's a good thing to be saying. It's not helpful.
Yeah. I think that one of the things is that can be really helpful when somebody says that is, don't take the bait. Whoever's saying that in the relationship is not saying it to resolve a problem.
You're doing it to avoid working through it.
Yeah, exactly. And so don't take the bait. Stay calm and carry on, and decide that, I'm not going to get reactive or defensive or anything like that. That you can acknowledge their feelings. That I see that you're really upset right now, and I get that, and I respect that. Can we talk about that? Because the whole thing about getting a divorce is just a red herring. It throws you off. It doesn't really get you to the place where you need to be. That you could also ask for clarification. Can you explain what makes you feel this way? Help me to know what's going on. That's kind of like, what we just talked about, but help me to know what's going on inside of you. And, there's a couple other things you can do, is that you can say something like this, is that I want you to know that on my side of the relationship, I'm committed to making this work. I need to know from you if you share that commitment. And of course, in the heat of battle, you might not want to ask that, because people say stupid things in the heat of battle. But at least you could say, well, we can always get a divorce. And you could say, well, from my side of the relation, I can speak for what's happening on my side of the relationship, and I don't want that. But I need to know from you whether, and perhaps when we step back and have a chance to cool down and think this thing through, if that's what you really want, because if that's what you really want, I cannot keep you engaged in this relationship, but I anything else along those lines? There's a couple other things I'd like to share, but tell me your thoughts.
Well, to be quite honest, I don't know if you said anything, but I'm not even in town.
Yeah.
And I've been busy all day. I'm staying with my mom, and we've been out visiting relatives, and I drove as fast as I could to get to the house to talk. And so I'm a little bit,
Frazzled?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you had a chance to have the chance to be with your mom. That I yeah, she's 90 years old. You know.
Doing great.
Yeah, she is. You know. And so that was that's cool that you can spend that time with her. You went and saw a cousin today. How old is the cousin there? It's your mom's.
85.
So she's 85. Yeah. So that's cool. So yeah, and I really appreciate you, Janice, taking the time to do this with me. Like I say, because when you're online, it's a lot better. You know.
You're welcome. I'm going to start coughing.
I'll mute you. Okay, but there's a couple other things that I'd like to say, and then we can wrap this up. First of all, is that I do want to revisit. There's a lot of things that I would like to share, and I know there's a lot of things that you would like to share about kind of like lessons that we've learned after 50 years of marriage, and so we're going to be planning on doing that. I could not. You're out of town this week. Last week, I had to help a fellow who was in crisis, and such as the life of a pastor, and that started at like about 8 something in the morning and went all the way until 11:30 that night.
Yeah.
So I just couldn't do any of the broadcast, and I couldn't even notify people that the broadcast wasn't happening because of that, you know. But now here's a couple other things. Is that that couples can say, instead of using those 6 words that you should never use in a marriage, you know, that's we can always get a divorce. Those are 6 words you should never speak in your marriage. By the way, is that, we live in a culture where there's kind of like almost like a support of that, And so instead of having people around you, older people around you, and others who would urge you on to work through your problems, that many people nowadays kind of would just fall in, because a lot of people are just plain codependent, and fall in and say, yeah, you should dump him, or you should dump her. They were never good for you in the first place, and blah, 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 blah,
Well, because we live in kind of a disposable society anymore, where when we were growing up, not only weren't the Christian people getting divorced, even the non-Christian people weren't getting divorced. It was not common, So like when, when our parents were together, even though sometimes they didn't get along or whatever, they stayed together, they worked through it and everything. And we had, intact families. But nowadays, my goodness, it's like, if
that's
you
the
stay
rarity.
married, it's kind of weird.
Yeah. Here's a couple final things to consider, and then we're going to wrap this up. One is that it takes, when you're involved in a tug of war, when you quit tugging, the war is over. So just let down your side of the rope. And so when, a conversation is not going in a productive direction, you can always say, right now is not a good time for me to be talking about this. I need to step back. I want to revisit it. I know these issues are important to you, but I want to step back and and come back to this when I'm a little clearer. So you don't have to make it about the other person who just said, well, we can always get a divorce. You can just say, hey, I'm stepping back from the conversation right now. And I want to hear your concerns, but not right now, And also is that you can also say something like, I really want to figure out, I really want to understand what's going on with you, but I want us to focus on productive solutions to that problem, So, but yeah, so that's it for today. I appreciate you, Janice, doing this with me today.
Nice to see you.
Hey, it's good to see you. We'll have to catch up a little bit later. You know. You can give me a call. We can talk about how your day went.
Yep.
Okay.
And in the meantime, I got to get dinner for my mother.
Oh, you guys haven't eaten yet, huh?
No.
Oh, man. All right. So, all right. Well, love you. And make sure to give my love to your mom.
I will.
Okay.
Take care of the dog.
I'm not even going to comment on that. So, all right. See you later.
Bye.
So, all right. So I hope that something we talked about in this particular broadcast was beneficial for you. And I would encourage for you to think a little bit about it, and also think how you can better resolve conflicts. Because until you learn to do that, yes, I know your spouse needs to learn how to do that. But until you learn how to do that, even when your spouse is going in a negative direction, there is always a healthy way to respond to someone who is reacting to you. And so your response is your responsibility. And learning how to have healthy responses to other people is a large part of what relational, personal, and spiritual maturity is all about. So that's it for now. And I hope you'll join Janice and me for the next time we talk about some of the lessons that we've learned after 50 years of marriage. Bye-bye.